There's a number making the rounds right now that's getting a lot of attention. $5,181 in Social Security payments supposedly coming this week. And if you've seen that headline, it's only natural to pause and wonder whether this has anything to do with your own payment. For a lot of people, that number raises hopes, questions, and sometimes confusion, especially when you're counting on these payments to cover real expenses. The problem is that headlines don't explain who those amounts actually apply to, how the payment schedule works, or why some people are paid this week while others are paid later in the month. This update is for anyone who receives Social Security or is planning around monthly benefit payments and wants to know when payments arrive and what the headlines about payment amounts actually mean. Before we go any further, tap the like button so this update can reach other people who are trying to make sense of the same payment questions you're dealing with. Let me be very honest with you. I know you're probably coming here after watching another video on the same topic that didn't really give you the answers you were looking for, and you may have just spent 15 to 25 minutes of your time and walked away feeling like it was wasted. Here on US Pension Inside, I provide you verifiable links in the pinned comment so you can check the official sources for yourself. And the reason I'm telling you this and why I make a point of including those verifiable links is because a few days ago, I heard a very personal story from one of my viewers that really stuck with me. Not long ago, someone reached out to me because they were worried they had missed their payment. They had seen a headline about Social Security payments of over $5,000 coming this week and assumed that meant everyone was being paid something special, or that there had been some change to the schedule. They checked their account early in the week, didn't see the deposit yet, and started to panic, thinking something had gone wrong. After we talked through how the payment schedule actually works and who is paid on which days, it became clear that nothing was wrong at all. Their payment was simply scheduled for a later date in the month based on their birthday. That moment of relief came from understanding how the system works, not from chasing headlines that can sound much bigger and more dramatic than what applies to most people. If you're watching from the same state or city as someone who's had that kind of confusion, or if this sounds familiar to you at all, let me know your state or city in the comments so I can keep different areas in mind and share updates that are relevant to where you live when I cover future topics. Now, without wasting any more of your time, let's walk through what is actually happening with Social Security payments this week, who is being paid on which days, and what those large payment amounts in the headlines really mean based on current SSA guidance as of the latest update. Social Security serves tens of millions of people who receive retirement, disability, and survivor benefits. And because of the size of the program, the Social Security Administration staggers payments throughout the month instead of sending everyone's payment on the same day. This is why you may hear about payments going out on a specific Wednesday, but that does not mean every recipient is paid on that date. According to current SSA payment schedules, payments this week are scheduled for people whose birthdays fall between the 1st and the 10th of the month. Those payments are typically issued on the second Wednesday of the month. For people with birthdays between the 11th and the 20th, payments are scheduled for the third Wednesday of the month. And for people with birthdays between the 21st and the 31st, payments are scheduled for the fourth Wednesday of the month. This staggered schedule is how the SSA manages the volume of payments going out each month. It's also important to separate Social Security retirement and disability payments from supplemental security income payments. SSI follows a different payment schedule. Based on current guidance, SSI payments for the upcoming months are typically issued at the end of the prior month, when the regular payment days would otherwise fall on a weekend or holiday. This is why you may sometimes see an SSI payment scheduled for late in the month that is technically for the following month. These timing differences can make it look like something unusual is happening, when in reality, it is just the way the payment calendar works. If your payment does not show up exactly on the day you expect, the SSA generally advises allowing up to 3 business days for processing, before contacting them. Small delays can happen because of banking timelines, rather than any problem with your benefits. This is based on current SSA guidance, and it can help prevent unnecessary worry if a deposit does not appear first thing in the morning on your scheduled payment day. Now, let's talk about the part of the headline that mentions payments of up to $5,181. This number represents the maximum possible monthly Social Security retirement benefit for someone who delays claiming benefits until age 70 and who earned at or above the taxable maximum throughout their working years. This is not what most people receive. It is a top-end example that applies to a relatively small group of people who had very high earnings over a long period of time and waited to claim until the latest possible age for maximum delayed retirement credits. Retirement benefits vary widely because they are based on your lifetime earnings, the age at which you start claiming, and the year in which you begin receiving benefits. Someone who claims benefits earlier will receive a lower monthly amount than someone who waits until full retirement age or beyond. Based on current SSA information, someone who earned the taxable maximum each year and claims at full retirement age would receive a lower monthly amount than the maximum at age 70, and someone who claims as early as age 62 would receive even less. These differences are built into how Social Security calculates benefits, and they are not new or unique to this week's payments. In reality, most people receive far less than the maximum figures that make headlines. Average benefit amounts are much closer to typical living expenses, rather than the top-end examples. This is why it's important not to compare your own benefit to the highest possible numbers you may see mentioned in news stories. Those numbers are accurate in the sense that they are the maximum allowed under current rules, but they do not reflect what most recipients actually receive. Another point that often causes confusion is the idea that these large payment amounts mean there has been some special increase or bonus issued this week. That is not the case. There is no special one-time payment associated with these scheduled February payments. People are receiving their regular monthly benefits according to the established payment schedule. The mention of large dollar amounts is simply referring to the maximum possible benefit level under current rules, not to a new or temporary increase. It's also helpful to remember that Social Security benefits are adjusted over time through the Annual Cost of Living Adjustment, or COLA, which is based on inflation measures. These adjustments are announced later in the year and apply to future payments, not to random individual payment dates. Any future COLA changes will be announced by the SSA when they are finalized. Until then, any early estimates you may hear about future COLA increases are just projections and not official amounts. This distinction matters because projections can change as new inflation data becomes available. So when you hear about early predictions for future COLA increases, it's best to think of them as something to watch, rather than something to plan around as a certainty. Official COLA announcements come from the SSA later in the year, and until that happens, any percentages you may see discussed are not confirmed. If this kind of clear source-based explanation is helpful to you, consider subscribing to U.S. Pension Inside so you don't miss future updates that are based on official guidance and explained in plain language. The most important thing to take away from this update is that the payment schedule this week follows the normal SSA calendar based on birth dates, and the large payment amounts mentioned in headlines represent the maximum possible benefit, not what most people receive. Knowing when your payment is scheduled and understanding what those headline numbers actually mean can help reduce unnecessary stress and confusion. Staying grounded in how the system really works, rather than reacting to dramatic-sounding headlines, can give you more peace of mind about what to expect from your benefits month to month.